So welcome everyone coming today to our presentation with Cheryl, Millet, and myself. So we're gonna talk with you about moving the energy and how to help you to feel good in the time of the winter season. So our topic today, we have put it as the nature of well-being for winter. Welcome Cheryl to join Pure Land International Qigong to present together. Who is Cheryl Millet, right? Cheryl is a healthcare practitioner, metaphysician, international presenter, and author. She understands the benefits of proper nutrition and removing the toxic load from the body and mind. So she has published her book, All Guts, All Glory, to discover the root causes of diseases, and we will have Cheryl here to take over the room. So welcome.
Thank you, Teresa. And you know, when I think about our introductions, and it's kind of just giving you a bit of information of who we are, you know, I just see these as labels best we can, so that you can just understand a bit about our background, a bit about what we do. And so just to kind of, again, remind people that you can actually, I'm just going to kind of go down a couple of pages here. It should be, see when it comes up. It should be simple but slow. Sorry there. Okay, so niche, there we go. Okay, so just briefly, yes, we're going to introduce each other, and then I'm going to go on Q&A, and then we have a group healing in the back. So to get started here, yeah, that's me. This is a place in South Africa, one of the tallest, bridge bungees in the world. And soon we're going to dive into some of the truths of health and well-being today, with a few comments on the winter part. Not everybody here may even be in the far north here, but so there's some things that are relevant, and while other things are just relevant at all times. So what to expect, and some of the things I want to go through today. Again, I just want to put it out there, the world we live in, and then definitely want to jump into the genes part here. It's something that you've heard about, but not everybody hears enough about it. And then just practically speaking, for what I do, healthy foods, and then being and living healthy habits. So habits are very valuable. And then definitely on top of all of this is the mind, and the mind matters. And then what is next? So then we'll take a breath. We have some questions. So I'll just remind everybody, if you have a question, put it in the chat room. And at the end, I'm going to try and, with some time permitting, answer a few questions, and we'll answer some more at the end. So one of the things I want to mention about the world we live in is there is a lot of stats out there. I've just chose to dive in a little bit into the big C, but again, what I call C is mutated cells. That's what it is mutated cells, and they're not normal. They are cells that may be just wanting to get out of the body, but because of the body's inability, either due to energy or taking in too much toxicity, they aren't being, let's say, eliminated from the body. Not that elimination has to be a big word. So many of the stats show, if you do your research, they'll show that there's zero, if not negative, confidence that anything is going to be discovered anytime soon, particularly the cure. And so many of the, you can go on again, many of the websites will tell you that they expect things to climb. And I'm hoping throughout this presentation that it'll be inspirational as you'll understand the possibilities, but it is about simplifying it. Any condition considering, and the big C, I'll call it, the goalposts keep changing. They keep, certain things kind of change. And to be mindful in this beautiful world of ours, capitalism, I come from a corporate background, I've done risk management, I've traded commodities, is that the industry, the health is an industry. And when we think of industry, we got to think of the growth, the business growth, the money, if you want to say it that way. This is on the Canadian Cancer Society's website, is they're working on, yes, research, and they're working on health policies, and they're working on that. The fact that they have helped a lot of people, and they have invested a lot of money in a lot of these things, and there's a lot of really great people in those industries and a lot of great people that are volunteering. But what I see more and more, and I have been involved in the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, I've been on the board there, is a lot of their investments, a lot of time and energy is going towards better treatments and certain things, not to dive into that too much. But just as expected, to understand that mutated cells or cancer is not just one disease. It is many conditions that are happening because the way mutated cells happen within our body. And just to be mindful that the cells in our body are not necessarily identical. A nerve cell is different than a liver cell. It's different than a skin cell. So you can see just how this could be now construed as many different conditions. And once upon a time, I'm not going to go into the germ theory here. I usually do go in that in other presentations. But the idea is I'm going to refer to whether you want to call it pathogens, viruses, or bacteria. I'm going to call them microbes, just to simplify that there. And here's what they write about prevention. And again, what I'm doing, and I've done this many times on videos and lives, is I kind of like unpack things so that you can see the wording here. And cancer prevention, here's 10 ways to reduce your cancer risk. So live smoke-free, responsible for about 18% of the cancers. I'm going to tell you that there is research that shows it's not necessarily the smoking per se or the tobacco. It's all the chemicals that are within the cigarettes and that part, and within the tobacco and what they spray and the pesticides. Have a healthy body weight. Well, that is going to be different from different people. It's not really in my nature to have people actually concern themselves about their weight initially. It is it is an observation that we can make and see the correlation. Eat well. They recommend using the Canada's Food Guide. The Canada Food Guide does have its limitations, and I will talk about the fat component, how they work with the fats, but you got to understand, having been in the food industry myself, that there is these such people as lobbyists, and they're in there trying to make a buck. Let's just keep it as that. Be active. I can't say enough about that. As you can see, Teresa's going to get us active as well. I run a walk club, and so depending on your activity that you like, and I think that's an important thing, is what you like to do. Walking is a very easy thing to do. And so be active. So very common sense there. Limit alcohol. They do tell you that drinking 3.5 drinks a day doubles or even triples your chance for cancer. But just to understand that alcohol is a toxin, and your body can absorb a certain amount of toxins. So the liver is important there, but you'll know your limits. And then for some cases, as in they have certain genes to bring that up, or they do not digest alcohol at all. Be sun safe. This is a huge area. I could speak to hours on this. You can imagine nature being, once upon a time, this planet, a ton of trees. So you wouldn't necessarily be out in the direct sun a lot. And so sun exposure, but if you're walking in the trees and things, you don't really need to wear sunscreen, although some people will feel more comfortable. But be sun safe is, in a standpoint, also I'll talk about vitamin D later on, because it is important not to be afraid of the sun, but to understand its potentials and its role in our health. It says ask about vaccines, and it says certain viruses, Hep P and HIV, have been known to cause cancer. And again, what I want to step back here is we need to look at the big picture. The big picture thinking is so important. The word vulnerable is something that keeps coming up, and those people who are vulnerable are actually people that are how can I say it, have less vibration, less energy, to do with their lifestyle habits or to do how they're thinking. And people can definitely be more vulnerable, and it doesn't really even matter. Different microbes are actually in our body. We have a whole host, as they say, we have many times more bacteria, I'll say microbes, than we have cells in the body. So this whole planet is full of microbes. It's just a matter of knowing there is life-giving microbes, microbes that help digest our food, and microbes that actually help return living matter to the soil. And test for radon. Now, not a lot of people know about this. Our Earth has a number of natural things, even arsenic and even mercury. These are natural forms we know from the elemental table. This is a leading cause, but radon, we know it's not really, how can I say it? Once upon a time, we spent a lot more time outside, and we did not have homes that were as well insulated as today. So if there is something like a radon naturally seeping out from the earth, as it does naturally, there could be buildups within homes. And we're not talking just mold here, we're talking something very natural, and that can be a stress on the body. The other thing that they mention here is be aware of hormones. So these are hormone replacement treatments, actually the birth control as well. But you need to understand that some of these things are actually in other areas, and they are in sometimes our food, in our water. And our hormones are very, very important in sending signals and communication, immune system, all kinds of functioning. And that's important. And the other one is get screened. If found early, it's often easier to treat. And I want you to understand cancer and screening and even mammograms, because I just recently dove into all of this to see what was going on, is the fact that it can cause, it can cause stress on the body, whether it's compression in the same of mammograms, or whether it's actually the emittance that comes from it. They'll say that it's lower than what it used to be, but still multiple times due to the reasons that you're getting. So you may have a person in your life that gets screened, and you may have other people that here that are going through it. So in some cases, we have to understand enough about all of these areas here so that you can move on and make choices, make your some choices. So one of the things I wanted to go in today, because I find that across the board, we have these things called genes, and we're talking about genes, and they're not just the ones you wear on your body. They are the ones that are internal, and this is thinking outside of the DNA. So here you can read what a gene is, and it's basically things that they say are traits and stuff that are passed along, and quite often we get it from both parents. And I want to talk a little bit more about how genes either do work or they don't work, or what they don't know. And that, I think, is important for you to know because of all of this talk at times about discovering, discovering what it is. And so the Human Genome Project, when I asked hundreds of people if they had heard about it, they did. But I said, did you hear about what the results were? It was finished under budget and in the year 2003, but yet a number of people had not known what it's about. And the reason why I kind of dove into this was for my book. And the Human Genome Project actually was looking for hundreds of thousands of protein sequences. I'm not going to say you're going to know every little thing that I'm talking about here, but they thought they would find a lot more complex. I mean, we're human, we're man, and they didn't. We're closer as far as the genome goes in our body. We are closer to insects, we're closer to rodents, we're closer to, there's much more similarities. We're close like 25,000 genome or gene sequences only, protein gene sequences only. So just to let you know that once they decided on that, and they had to figure out, well, what is going on here? Because essentially, that is not saying the whole picture, that they decided that maybe it was epigenetics. And epigenetics, again, another big word, but all it says is if you can imagine the genes and they had light switches on them, that they determined through a research project that was done with twins, one would be autistic and one wouldn't, what happened, because they're thinking, is this genetic? And it's not genetic. What they determined is something occurred, and the switches, the possibilities that they exist by labeling them as switches, they turn off and on. So you would then have autistic tendencies, or everybody would, or a lot of people would, and then with a switch, a flick of a switch, you would actually be having that. So, and in essence, that is only part of it. And that does, our lifestyle does actually impact our health and what manifests, not your genes. Think of genes as a, for us, if we think of consciousness up here, then the genes are just there to build proteins. They're looking for and getting signals and energy and information and directions. They're getting, to get directions to do what they need to do. So then we get to the cell membrane, and you may have heard of Bruce Lipton, but there are others. And cell membrane is known as the brain of the cell. And the brain of the cell, just to give you an idea, has many key functions. One, they're communicating with the environment, communicating with other cells. Two, what they let in and out, or what they keep out and keep in. But the fourth one is what I like, is the healing potential. It is a source of energy, and energy is synonymous with information. So the cell membrane, in essence, will change its pH balance to create new healthy cells, or give directions for the cells to mutate or decompose and be eliminated from the body. So the cell membrane is very, for me and for all that I can see, is very instrumental in your health. But I want to go into another area here. And again, I'm grateful that you're open, because one of the things that keeps coming through, seeding information in books, even on the government websites about human augmentation, about artificial intelligence. You may not know it exactly, but here, when we think of the gene drive, this is a natural process, but really it's genetically engineering and wanting to do that within our body. However, it can be very harmful as well. So the actual applications that they talk about, which is mosquitoes, eliminating certain things that we are fearful of, and also, just the misuse of it, but not misuse intentionally. Actually, unintentionally, these things can happen if they've happened in the past. But I want to step back into mosquitoes here. When meeting with a native person and we're having a conversation about different things, it's about the Inuit and so forth, I had a question for him. Because I learned to understand there are purposes for everything. There's a purpose for your journey, why things happen and don't happen for you, is that the mosquito has a purpose. So this is very timing, and I've been talking about this for several years, and it's even right now even more timely, I think, that the mosquito's purpose, believe it or not, is mini inoculations. So insects, be it the mosquito, one of the most important ones on our planet, is if you go to a certain area and they are picking up different things as they do, and then they're doing and they are doing these mini inoculations. Yes, they're feeding, yes, but by them doing that, they're doing an exchange, and they're giving you a little bit of malaria. They're giving you a little bit of whatever's in the environment, and that's the immune system's triggering to build up antibodies. So you may have heard that people are immune to malaria, and they're immune to things in their environment. So not to talk too much more about that, but I did want to say, as we get, as we move further along in our life from this period on, is that there's some of these things in science, they do have both sides, but at the same time, there's the nature of things that is known, that makes a lot more sense in my mind than the limitations or nuisance of itching a mosquito bite. So just just so that you know that. That's on Wikipedia. And here we go. So there are no genies in the lamps. I have to tell you that. And our healing potential is within. It comes from within. And our mind is big time in that, influencing there. So I did mention that I was going to mention what inflammation is really. And this is something, again, that I've been presenting on probably more than a decade. And through my research from doctors of 100 years ago, and that is that inflammation is not the root cause of disease. It is not. It is and has to be our body's symptom that tells us there's something wrong. So whether that's the redness, whether that's the fever, whether that's itchiness, whether that's certain pains that we get, things are growing. So all of that is indicating that it's inflammation. So inflammation is a component of every condition or disease that exists. It's a component, but it is a symptom at the end of the day. It does not get to the root cause. Like a point or a story, I say, well, if you fall down and you hit your knee will swell up. But you can't look at the swelling to say, well, what is wrong? What was the root cause? Was the trip or the uneven sidewalk that caused the trip? That's the root cause. If we were to look at diseases and conditions, we would not find what the problem is. Symptoms are communication only. It gives us light to maybe what area of the body, and certain things kind of happen there. But I just, there's just so much more information about inflammation, or the use of the word inflammation, as you manage the inflammation, and that's all there is to it. But you're not addressing the root cause, and that will lead to other problems down the road, and chronic inflammation. We want to reverse that. So let's go into real healthy foods. Again, with the period of time that we have, I just want to kind of keep track of the time here. The key things here, as I'm going to kind of talk through it, is whole foods, right? So here's an apple. This is a whole food, skin and all, water and all the minerals and everything that needs. But an apple, like any other food, if you take this apart, it starts to oxidize. And in its nature, apple, and as well as any other living food, will want to decompose back to the earth. That's why, timing, you can't leave it very long. You best eat things that are fresher, and that gets into the fresh and local kind of scenario. The reason why I put local in there too is to understand, just like the mosquito, in its locality is inoculating you what's there, the local foods are actually very good. So when it comes to winter time, and depending on where your location is, what's available. Now, less here in the way of the winter, but there is still some food available, and that's a good way to look at it. Again, apples. In the case of apples and certain these food, hard fruits, right, can keep much longer if we think of storage or cold cellars. So that's just another way to look at it of real healthy foods. Organic and natural food, and I'm not so hung up on that it has to be certified organic. A number of farms and farmers actually do a lot of organic or natural things, but they don't necessarily have to be certified organic. And then raw foods. Now, raw foods doesn't have to be cold food, because that's also an important thing when we're in winter. You don't want to be consuming a lot of cold foods. Some will be affected by it more than others. But what you can do, like even miso soup can be warmed up into a temperature like 110, 115, very warming still to the body. Soups like that, even dehydrated foods in some ways. They don't have to be refrigerated and they're warm, but you can warm things up to easily to 110, 115 degrees without affecting its nutrient, and then still enjoy the warmish, the foods in the winter time. Then I want to talk about supplements from the same. Supplements, again, I'm in the health industry. There is a lot of money to be made. And when I get the research reports, or let's say projections of how much money certain things are going to be worth in the future, the health industry and supplements, whether it's protein shakes or the omegas or the vitamin D or the pectin or any of them, it is about getting into these industries because this is, this is the trend that's coming up. So it is definitely a business, as I mentioned before. And supplements from the same, you can buy camu berry, you can buy raspberry powder, you can buy some things that might not be available, and it's your comfort level to get supplements or some nutrients, vitamins, proteins, the whole foods from Whole Foods, and as fresh as possible, less processed is going to be the better. So timing. When we think of timing and foods, it's in season. So, hey, you like strawberries? Eat the strawberries when they're in season, although some people like a little bit of frozen, and that's kind of changes up variety. But generally speaking, fruits that are in season, right off the tree, right off the bush, will be higher in vibration. That's how we can think. And if everything is energy, you can see that with food as well. The other thing is, in as far as preparing foods, it's not so much what's on the label, and what you know about processing is how you process as well. So I've been teaching people to think of slow cook or no cook or low cook, and that being very healthy for the food. And it just takes a little bit more time, but not much more time when you think of it. And you can kind of leave it. You don't have to keep your eye on it. It doesn't make the same mess with pots and stuff. But one of my passions here is about fats, because we don't talk about it, but there's a lot of fear around fats, but there's actually quite a bit of healthy fats. But you need to know that they're refined, bleached, and deodorized vegetable oils. So I bought oil for the bakeries, tons and tons of it. And so I know the processing of it. And the reason it's highly processed like that with heat and bleach and so forth is so that it's shelf stable. And that's something about the food industry for our convenience. That is a thing that needs to happen. So the healthier fats are, yes, the raw fats, whether that is cold pressed olive oil, or make sure it's cold pressed coconut oil, because refined, bleached, and deodorized, or refined as they call in label, is a thing for coconut oil too as well. If you're slow cooking and no cooking and low cooking, the fats won't be affected as much. Or what I say to people in the example, if you're making a stir fry, is to add the healthy fats afterwards, whether that means your olive oils is probably the most common one, but some other ones are there. Some other fats like flaxseed oil, even walnut oil, expiration date is probably not truly indicative of what it is. Walnut oil actually oxidizes quite quickly. But what is next? I know I'm kind of going through this. I hope you're taking a few notes. Even if you just learn a few things today, that is good. So supplements, I'm just going to go through this quickly. These are my pictures from foraging, mushroom foraging, or harvesting mullein, garlic mustard greens down here. They may be invasive, but we have to understand nature. Certain things comes and goes. They don't necessarily time, but you can make pesto with that. Beautiful dandelions. They're highly nutritious and found, they're found just in a lot of places. But to get it from our food or nutrition, yes, not all the time. It depends on stress level, depends on pain. Superfoods, well, I think cucumber and celery is a superfood, to tell you the truth. But you can't supplement that. So as far as a bottle goes, but I think there's a lot of superfoods when we're thinking about our foods. Mushrooms are as one. Nature's forms. So whether it be a proper powder, freeze-dried, or liquid, vitamin D should be a liquid, just to give you an example. Supplements, the vitamin D, I said I was going to talk a little bit about this. Try to get it from the sunshine. And I'm going to say that you can actually get vitamin D from your eyes. So now we don't typically wash our eyes with soap and water. We just don't. And that's a good thing, because it takes 48 hours to produce vitamin D. This is the UV rays from the sun and the cholesterol in our skin that produces the vitamin D. So the more and more people that are on cholesterol meds, it hinders the vitamin D production. So which may just lead to why we have so many cancers or conditioned diseases, when they do their research and they're checking on vitamin D levels, they're very, very low. So if you know a little bit about this, then even in the winter, you can go out and on your face, especially your eyelids, close sun, get the sun on there, light, and that will help produce vitamin D as well. And then, of course, there's the proteins, undenatured whey protein, and understand digestion will make a very big play on proteins, whether you have enough stomach acid, those kind of things. And then, of course, the fats, they should be cold pressed, and you should know a little bit, not purified, not refined, not molecular distilled. That's all the same as refined, bleached, and deodorized. And then vitamin minerals, we need enough of them. We don't need a whole lot of them, but to make sure that they're in their natural states, again, minerals are better just as a liquid and just by a full complement of minerals. Vitamins some are fat soluble, as I talked, but they should be in oil, like vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A. And then you have the water soluble ones, which are like the vitamin Bs. So there's so much in that area. Just keep it simple. Don't overdo it. Some people have gotten really sick overdoing it, 15, 20 supplements. They think it's good for them, but because of the quality of the supplements, it's causing them issues. So just to go in here about being and living healthy habits, water's number one. Water is what we're mostly made of. It holds charge, it holds energy. It really is one of those things that we can't underestimate, but yet you can have too much and you can have poor quality water in some ways, but water is going to be better than nothing. Sleeping well. This is going to be one of the most important things for your body to ability to cleanse. And that's like sleeping like the 10 to 6 or 10:30, early to bed, early to rise. Walking is one of the simplest things that you can do every day. You can do more of. It's not a stress on your body. I can't tell you how many elite athletes, Olympic athletes get sick all the time, and then it gets into also injuries. So walking is very, you can do it at your own pace. You can do it in nature. You can do it with somebody else. Very healthy. Sunshine, nature walks, because that differs, walking, but when you're walking in nature with the air, the plants and stuff, clean the air, lots of things, it's cool and stuff. And so being fun, just being fun, because it is fun. Being you, that is probably one of the things that a number of people struggle with, actually, is just being themselves, because then I would have to get into matters of the mind. But what is the one thing you can do today that's cheap, that's free, you can do it anytime, it's up to you, it's your choice, and that is a 4-letter word, and it's chew. So I mentioned I would mention that, and it's like this. When we're thinking of chewing, you got to chew your food to liquid. And if you're into any liquid outside of a tea or outside of water, then you have to chew your liquid, like smoothies and protein shakes. You have to chew it because you're preparing in the chewing for the production of increased stomach acid in the stomach to help digest those protein shakes. So we drink our food, but we miss out on the chewing. So I wanted to mention that. And that's one of my butterflies there, but I did the part of the monarch butterfly project this past summer, raised 18 caterpillars. So a lot of fun. And that's just one of the pictures, because in the releasing, they have to dry off, and it's a very big photo op there. But matters of your mind, and this is probably where I should spend a bit of time, but at the end of the day, what I really want to kind of dive in here is the fact that your mind trumps everything. And how does that kind of work? Well, you do have to mind your mind and just be aware that your mind trumps everything in a lot of ways. The thoughts are things too, and we're not our feelings, we're not our emotions, but our thoughts and the way we think of things is going to determine what thoughts and feelings and whatever emotions that we have, which changes the chemistry in our body. And, that's an important thing, is the changing of the chemistry, the signaling through the nervous system that's kind of going through our body. So thoughts are things too. Perspective is everything is something that a lot of people have heard, and quite often it's like these things that we think of, putting yourself in the other person's shoes. But I want to say right here is that everybody's capable of every feeling and emotion, from jealousy to envy to all of them, sadness, happiness, all the full range of emotions, negative or positive, if we want to say it that way. We're all, even if I were to ask a lot of people, have you ever thought about committing suicide? Everybody's hands probably would go up. Is that feeling sorry for yourself? And just kind of one of those things, because it does exist on our planet, that you think about it there. So emotion is energy in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. So it's the energy that you're producing. I mean, if you've ever walked in a room and you could tell something happened, then you can. The other thing is just to recognize that beliefs are not your personal experience or knowing. They are either limited or unlimited. And so you believe for the reasons you do. We have all kinds of beliefs, and then you get all kinds of opinions. And it's a matter of staying open to listen to each other and to see what they are. But we can get down to making things a little simpler than they are. But at the end of the day, things are happening, and there are challenges out there to various degree for different people, similar for some people, but they exist. They feel very real. Ego. Now, ego is interesting. Ego is something that I have studied big time in the last decade or more. Not necessarily telling everybody, in a sense, because you kind of have to observe it and understand it, take it in, but not even a number of the coaches, practitioners, psychiatrists, psychologists can, when we have a big long chat and I ask them, because I like to ask questions, what do they think ego is? They can't comment. They're knowing that they learned it in the textbook, but really, what is ego? And we need an ego to exist in our human experience. We need it. And this is a presentation that I created, Awakening You, and a third of it is just about the ego. It's to understand the ego. That's why I couldn't do it justice now, but just understand that we're not talking about a person has an ego. That's part of ego, yes, but it is really how we need it to see and understand the world around us. And everything is where it needs to be. I mean, if we just step back from what I just said, everything needs to be where it needs to be. It's your lessons. It's your lessons to grow. It's your lessons. It's your experiencing life as it is, so you can have more compassion for others, perhaps, or to be able to relate. So everything that's happening, even today when certain things happen, like it or not, it allows people to grow and to see things for themselves. So it's one of those things that it's a stepping back from everything, or from what you're looking at or what you're in close looking at, and seeing the bigger picture. I always like to come into the placebo, where a number of people, it was just placebo. That's just a placebo. It's not just a placebo. It's a real, tangible, measurable thing that happens with people when they think and believe something and the body's responding to it. It is showing you how powerful the mind is. It absolutely is. So in essence, a number of things that are happening to us is really awakening you to being more conscious of who you are, who we are, who this, what this life is, what this journey is, but not to take it too seriously. Not to take it too seriously, which is some of the directions you kind of go in when you start learning things. You just take it so seriously. But everything and anything can be in the direction they can. There's no right, no right or wrong in some ways. But what time is it? It's now. Where are you? You're there. I'm here. So this is the thing about timing, or where you are, is everything has happened to you to date. It's giving you the understandings and it brings you going forward, whether you still want it or not. This is unhealthy patterns, perhaps, or healthy patterns. But if you want to make positive changes, it's something you decide. And fears, particularly guilt and fears, are being used a lot. It's just, we got a world here that there's a control element. While advertising, controlling what you buy, marketing, all of that. So understand that is a place that you do. So it's the fears that are there and the guilt that there and all these other feelings that get you to grow or to look beyond or rise above, right? But you decide. But sometimes I see this being called the shadow work or things like that. Responsibility, this is a big word, but only because of the number of characters. It's a simple thing. Everything that happens to you is for you, everything. So it is yours to take, to take it. If you don't feel like you have enough energy or enough motivation or things like that, that is to be looked at. That is to be looked at. So let's learn about your powers. These are very few simple things, and appreciate that life is definitely a gift, and that's about being present, because then you can see the gifts, or like being in nature, the beauty of nature that way. So take to heart your powers, feel them here. Don't intellectualize them here. You can do whatever you like, but oftentimes we're intellectualizing a lot of what we're taking in. But for here is where you can take it in a different way. And so your thoughts are imagination, your thoughts, your creation. We do it with art, but we can also do it with imagination. And imagination is sometimes put on paper. You want to build a particular home, and so you have to put it on paper to create it. They have to imagine it. But imagination comes into, some people will call it manifesting. And so the idea is, if you have an idea of what calls you, what speaks to you, what you would like to create, imagine it. But don't but imagine it with all your senses. Right? So you can see it, you can taste it, you can feel it. So if you're dreaming, but it's like daydreaming, imagine what you would like to see, because the opposite is you're imagining what somebody else wants for you, or they're seeding the minds, and then, marketing and advertising is just seeding the minds, and then you buy what they have you think you need. So remember, this is about you. This is your imagination, and what do you want to see? Choice. Choice is a power that everybody has, and that is choosing to, all your choices, what you choose to buy. Just a little story, working for one of the largest grocery retailers in Canada and having conversations with the executives, is that whatever is on the shelf and whatever goes on there, but it's whatever's bought, that they'll replace it. So if the consumers are buying more of this, they'll stock more of that. If they choose not to buy this, then they'll start, then they won't stock that. That is a model where you choose. It's like purchasing power, and choice is very important to let the businesses know what you want, because they don't want to have anything to do with, the marketing stuff is actually usually on the packaging or some sort of strategies they have in groceries, but it's your choice. So choice is very much yours to have. And breath. So breath is one of those things. It's a power that you have. It heals, it directs energy, it opens up the space, and it just so happens that oxygen is one of our #1 nutrients, although they don't call it nutrients, but it is one of the #1 nutrients. So they talk very much about shallow breathing and doing some of that. So the idea with acknowledging the space in between is to, how would I say, boundaries comes up to mind, but that's, that's something that I believe we try to interfere with what other people do or convince what other people do. And really, it's not up to us to know what's better for other people. I think one of the ancient, I'm trying to think, he's from India, and he has said in his little book, At the Feet of the Master, one of the hardest things for man to do is to mind their own business. And he says it a few times, but I laugh. And we can all laugh at that. We've all been there. There are no rules in life. It's a little bit of a tricky thing, but when we think about limitations that we put on ourselves, this is where this is where you can kind of go with that. There are no rules in life. If you want to be this, if you want to do that. I saw a video on a ballerina, and she had some sort of a health condition. So on meds, she gained a lot of weight, but she wanted to be a ballerina. And it was a lovely video about her overcoming and finally understanding that she can still be a ballerina. It doesn't matter how much she weighs. So sometimes we can get in our own way at that point. And it's one step at a time. One step at a time is that visualization. You can see the feet in the sands. If you want to get a kilometer, it's one step at a time. Okay, so you jump a little bit, or you're biking, and it's one pedal at a time. But at the end of the day, it's you in our life. It's one step. So this is where patience becomes a virtue. It becomes a virtue. So what you think you are, and that's an important thing. When you look at this lion, what comes to mind? What do you see? Now then, I'm going to play with you a little bit, and you take this lion and you're out in the African plains, and the lion is 50 feet. Now, how do you see the lion? So how we see everything is how we tend to feel. So what you think you are, you are. I think Ford comes up. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So this is like a quote from Henry Ford. And so when you're looking at things about you, not just this lion, but anything you look, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, again, you are going to be what you think you are at the end of the day. But what a beautiful, majestic animal. And then the journey, the journey is uniquely yours. Yes, this is a butterfly, and every butterfly, every one of the 18 tuna makers, so every one that I released, 16 of them, was a unique journey for them, whether it be timing or where they were released or how they did what they did. And so yours is uniquely yours in many, many, many respects. Not just how your physical body's made up and the differences there, but the lessons you're going to learn and how long things happen, the people you know. So much uniqueness comes into each and everybody's world that way. So just to kind of wrap it up here in a way, time is of the essence. And well, why not? It's right now. Patience is a virtue. And then I'm going to ask you a question, and you can, out of what you have heard, what in the next 24 hours are you going to do, or what you would like to do? So out of everything that you heard, this will be it's somewhat of a little bit of a test, a little bit of play, and how, what you were paying attention to, or what actually jumped out at you. And will be something for you. Will be unique as well. But what over the next 24 hours will be something that you want to try even? Some people will say the change, but not a lot of people like that word change. I love that word change, because we're always changing. Everything is changing anyway. Now here's something, as you're kind of pondering what that is, whether you're writing it down or just thinking about it, is why are you going to do that? Why are you going to do that? Now, when I was presenting to first-year teachers, it was over a whole afternoon. And some people are going, well, I'm going to give up coffee. Others will say, well, I'm going to give up pop. Just something little that they could do. And then I asked them the question, because I said, this is even more valuable than everything that I've been kind of talking about, is why you do everything you do. So this one particular thing that you noted that you wanted to change, or you wanted to try, why do you want to do it? There's only two reasons. There are only two reasons why you'll do anything. And before I tell you what those two reasons are, when I was in the presentation, at the break, I'd get people coming up and questioning, my brother and my father died of heart attacks. I want to know how I can avoid or prevent a heart attack. Others were saying, cancer runs in my family. How can I prevent that? So much of what they wanted to hear was out of fear of getting it themselves. So the two directions, you can ask yourself this: are you doing it out of fear because you don't want it to happen? You're afraid of death. You're afraid of course, you witness different things, what happens to your loved ones when certain conditions come about, or out of love. So fear or love. Of course, there's more explanation for that, but just kind of, no, because you don't want to have something, you're afraid of something, or you're doing it for yourself because you love, you want to take care of your body. It's your responsibility to take care of your body. And these are the things that you can ask for any choices that you make that you've made in your life, or that you're going to make in your life, or decide to make. And that kind of shifts the energy within the body. So Carl Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Okay, so unconsciously we do a lot of things. Call it habit. Your parents did it. You see it happening. Other people do it. And you're not even thinking about some of the things that you're doing. And, that's important. But, one of the things that I can say that people can be attuned to when it comes down to health is the understanding about caffeine. Back to the mammograms. I just want to leave this with you. Back to the mammograms. In there, when they say about preparation for a mammogram, let's say, they want you to avoid. There's nothing else that you need to avoid as far as what you put into your body. But caffeine, whether that's colas, tea, coffee, avoid that for 5 to 7 days before a mammogram. But I'm going to tell you, coffee is a neurotoxin. Coffee makes the colon lazy. Coffee will interfere with the nutrient absorption, especially iron. It'll interfere with that in your body, and it'll interfere with meds working too as well. And so that's one of the things I just kind of wanted to top on there. But at any place where you are, you don't need to feel like you have to change everything all at once. It's probably not necessary. And that way, it's probably a little bit too crazy for some people to think that you can. Some people go out all hog, but it only lasts for a certain time. Some clients, I've had to tell them to take a vacation from being healthy. It's that too serious and they're doing way too much. You only have so much energy. You only have so much energy, which is why sleep is important. That's probably one of the biggest preventions of conditions, is to regenerate the body, is to help with the detoxifying and cleansing liver and healing and regenerating and all that. Because at the end of the day, we're one big regeneration machine. That's what we are. We're turning over healthy cells all the time. We're turning over and those. And so depending on the number of toxicity, so you can understand, depending on the number of toxicity, whether that comes from physical inputs or air or water or mind, that changes the chemistry, that is only part of the toxicity. We actually have natural toxicity or waste products in the body. It's from our metabolic processes. So you want to keep things fluid in many ways, even that part of it. And that's kind of really, really key. Now, I wanted to open it up to questions now. I know we have a bit of time, and I really, really want to get to some questions. Otherwise, I'll just talk about a couple of different things. And but with everything, usually people have a lot of questions on health, and be it this is only, let's say, 45 minutes here, an hour. It's really no time. For me, it's like a drop in the bucket of information to share with you. I mean, I'm just going to show you this book here. So you can write your questions. I'm going to look at them in a minute, but I want to show you a book from 100 years ago. It is huge. It's 16 pages, and it's like 16 specialists, as they call them. And I've been poring over it. And really in there, they have a whole section on how to how to work with your symptoms and how to self-diagnose and how to do that. But in this book and many other books, they do talk about, back to the caffeine piece, they do talk about avoid caffeine. Now we're talking 100 years ago, and one other book, I think it was like 150 years ago, the doctors recommend do that. But here's the thing, post, which is after you're feeling, you know, after you're through your sickness or your flu or fever, whatever's taking you out, they say to continue. The only thing that they say to continue after that, after you're feeling good, is caffeine for several months afterwards. So the earlier research that I could get to is it does change, it changes things in the body like blood pressure, that kind of things. But let me show you this book. So this is Health and Longevity. It's a book that I got through a doctor, and it's a very rare book, but it's in some of the medical libraries that I could see, a few of them in the world, but it's full of a lot of knowledge. And what is interesting thing about Health and Longevity is it simplifies things, and it actually gives herbal remedies from back then. That's when the doctors used to give herbal remedies. They weren't so big on medications as much in the 100 years past. It was more on the herbal and natural remedies. So that kind of fits into, I mean, I could talk to many areas that come about in the bigger picture of pharmaceutical drugs and medications and research. And I've been instrumental in some research out of U of T, out of McGill University. But at the end of the day, there's much to be said about a lot. But to simplify it is, how you feeling? Now, how are you feeling? And that is something you can ask yourself, and then to explore what it is that you're feeling. You may want to make notes, you know, journal a little bit, and that's putting it into the conscious. So when Carl Jung puts in there, until you make the unconscious conscious, that kind of thing. So let me just see if there's any questions here that we can go through. And let's see here what we have. If I can make the screen bigger, and if I can't, yes, I can. Okay, so is living in an industrial area but near the water not safe? So it's a very good question, Jean. What I'm going to say about water is it's living. And so water is got, if you're not aware of this already, water is unique in the science world, which means they do not understand it. Water is, when it freezes, it expands, and that's not what other liquids do. So my understanding is that water has a memory. Remember, we're talking about the cells and holding information, holding energy. So it is able to bring us the things from its environment. So if you're living in an industrial area and there's a lot of toxicity, typically what happens with the water is it's bringing that vibration, it's bringing that information and energy into our body. And it will depend on how well they clean it. There is different, different ways they filter it. I personally don't drink the Toronto city water. I go out to a spring and get my spring water. What I've also heard is, you might find this interesting because this is something you can do, be it winter or be it summer, it doesn't matter. You can put your water out in the sun. You can put your water in the sun. Some of you have probably heard you can put your crystals out, you can put them in water, you can put them out in the sun, the moonlight, and you can cleanse them, clear them, and things like that. So that kind of premise with your water. Just a little story, my dog, I had a dog passed recently, but never another dog, but I was observing my dog, and this particular dog would bypass his water bowl, first thing in the morning, and go outside and go directly to the water that's been sitting outside. So the dogs, as in nature, not necessarily plants in this case, but other living animals can tell us things about it. So that was interesting. That was kind of recent research about it.
Does that mean it's distilled water? Not to interrupt you, because it's been sitting all night?
No. But Gina, I will say that water that comes from the sky is distilled. The water I was talking about could have been from two sources. So not to kind of make it that it's absolute. Sometimes it's the snow that melts in there, or the rain that comes down, or it's the spring water that I've had, and I fill it up and I put it outside. You know, we don't get water for a few days, and I'm putting water in there twice a day. So it does not necessarily have to be distilled. That would not happen. It'll either be distilled or not, but not based on it being outside. But it would cleanse it or energize it.
Do you know what you'd use to have water outside from the rain, just say?
Yeah, they have rain barrels. Yeah, so a lot of people are getting in to collect water with rain barrels, whether that's a more highly sophisticated system because it's coming in, and sometimes they will filter it thereafter if it's drinking water. Or sometimes they'll use it for their gardens. But rainwater, see, in my opinion, rainwater, and again, we got to think of acid rain, we got to think about where you're living, you know, what's coming through and down through the particles with the water. So water is one of those things, actually many areas of health are one of those things where you can ask a lot of questions about. It's not black or white or very clear, very clear. I get this, you know, is which water is the best water? And what I can deem as is it really won't matter if your mind is always negative, because if you know Emoto's work shows that your emotions and your feelings will change the water structure and crystallize in a beautiful pattern if there's positive prayer put on the water, or if there's negative emotions and meditation done with water, and then they photograph the water. It's a very distorted, very disturbed, very unpatterned, not very beautiful, you know, crystal that the water forms. So I hope that kind of brings to light that when the mind comes in, it also comes in. We're mostly water, and we will make an impact on the water and ourselves by how we're thinking. Does that help?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I took several years to ponder about the whole water thing because it was such a big thing. Just kept getting other books and things and validating and not validating and paying attention. Increase my imagination. Yes, you can. Imagination is by far one thing that if you could start to play with that would be one thing to play with, would be your imagination. So I kind of do exercises every morning. What do I want? Well, I want to see blue skies, not chemtrails. I want to see colorful cars, because I think color, it brings so many, you know, so many things to the table. Nature, green, it's not black and white, flowers, beauty, safe children. So these things, some, you know, clean water. So I just kind of imagine that. And would you know if it's dangerous to drink coffee, decaf, or regular during pregnancy? Well, when it comes to drinking coffee, I think it really doesn't matter where you are in your, whether you're pregnant, whether you're a child. I've seen children drinking coffee, but they're in their neurodevelopment stage. So when I think of pregnancy, because of that question, I think of the baby is forming, and more the neural development comes in the third trimester, which I'm just saying all during is important, but in the third trimester, there's a lot of stuff is forming. A lot of connections are being made, neural connections made, because the baby's got to come out and do everything on its own. So decaf, I don't think is any better than caffeine or caffeinated. I think they just go through some additional processes, but really, I'm just going to say it as it is. You're drinking burnt water with a bit of the flavor of whatever coffee bring to the table. So very, if I had to get into business, two businesses I get into, one would be coffee or depends, because
would you say it's dangerous? Not to interrupt you, the coffee, could it cause something bad?
Well, if you have a lazy colon, then you're going to have to rely on laxatives or more caffeine coffee to go to the bathroom. I mean, when my clients or anybody tells you, yeah, it gets me going in the morning, they don't mean just the energy part of it. They mean it actually gets a bowel movement. And then when they stop drinking it, that natural peristaltic movement that happens within our colon, it'll make it lazy. So coffee will make it lazy. So I don't like to use the word dangerous, but it is one factor of many factors that would hinder our full potential and our natural energy.
Do you think it could cause birth defects, would you think? Or you're not sure, per se?
Well, knowing enough about science and research and to answer that question is I do not know. I've not done research on it personally to kind of bring it to that point, but you have to look at the bigger picture. So when things stress out the body and when things are toxic for the body or increasing the toxic load, anything's possible. Anything's possible that when things do happen, it could be a collective things, not just one thing. And I think that that's why we get hung up on sometimes, does this cause this and does this cause that? It's usually not just one thing. It's kind of like a collective, bigger picture thing.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. So we have a lot of information about coffee. It is good deoxidized for the body, but yeah, I mean, it stimulates the liver unhealthily to do that. So you have to understand some of the things that are helping us, what we perceive helping us, is actually stimulating the body. It's, how can I say it? It's stimulating the body to a point where it actually, you couldn't do it all the time. Based on that way. So it's like putting your finger down your throat. You wouldn't want to put your finger down your throat to vomit all the time. But if you have, eaten some food poisoning and you understand that you can get rid of the material in your stomach to help you, fine, you kind of do it. So some of the thing is like that, but limited to a certain amount a day. To me, coffee again is a money-making business, and when they start saying certain things about certain things, understand that when they find certain molecules, it's not like they find the molecules in certain things. Plants have a number of molecules in them. It's just inherited for survival, but it doesn't mean that once it's been processed and roasted and that it's harmful, or take into consideration that the other components also exist there. So all plants will have something in it. And, you may have heard of don't eat tomatoes. Don't eat this because there's a particular thing in there. Well, of course, seeds don't want to be digested by the body, as in tomato seed. So, but not to eat not to eat tomatoes at all because of the seeds in there that want to go through your digestive system, so they have an irritant in them, is in my mind, that's not how we need to think about things that way. So if it's unconscious, turning into consciousness is not easy. Yes, I mean, we're saying simplify, but nobody's saying anything is going to be as easy. It'll be easy for some people, but it is the understandings that give people and the tools that will help people move. It's like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. There are teachers that know a bit about things. People need to be educated and learn a protocol to make such change into habit. Absolutely. Education, a bit of knowledge, some knowledge, impeccable knowledge. Could you be brief about it? Should be a big topic. Yeah, it is a big topic. And everybody's so unique here that depending on where they have the issues and the way they look at it, their perspective on it, so that is important. It's just not a straight up, here's a chapter on a number of things, because it'll be unique to everybody in their own situation, their perspective, their beliefs, their limiting beliefs. And so it needs to be looked at in that way. The sugar from processed foods cause inflammation and bloating. I have a bad nighttime sugar habit I'm trying to kick, but I notice in the mornings when I didn't eat any sugar drunk foods the night before, my stomach and waist appears slimmer, whereas the opposite, and I look more bloated when I do have a lot of sugar the night before. Yes, well, understand a couple of things about timing. Is that typically, I'll tell you, if I'm eating desserts, the best time, let's say I make my own shortbreads, is midday, not after dinner. So depending on a person's stomach, digesting will determine how many hours you should be going to go to bed. And we should never, the idea is to stay upright so the food can digest better. The people that lie down, crouch down, stay stationary will have a harder time things there. But sugar, in itself, sugar is natural, right? But there's different forms of sugar, and it'll depend on what they come with. So when you say, I don't see you eating a teaspoon of sugar, you're probably eating something alongside that sugar, or whatever form it is. So there might be some grains in there and that, but I want to bring up here so that you just have an attention. I'm speaking to somebody who's, and she's in a hypnosis. She teaches hypnosis, teaches people to doing hypnosis. And she was bringing up this gluten-free, she's got to do a gluten-free 24-hour, diet thing for somebody. And I say, this whole gluten-free thing's crazy. And anyway, I said a few things to her, and she says, Cheryl, I was on this machine just last week and gluten came up, and it looked at the spiritual, what parts of the body like it or don't like it. And so it goes into spiritual, mental, and physical. I thought there was a fourth one I'm going to ask her, but the physical body liked the gluten. The spiritual body liked the gluten, but the mental didn't like the gluten. And this is our whole intellectual side. She had read an article and mirrored the symptoms from in there, because many symptoms come from different things. And she just took it, I must be gluten insensitive, but she's not. So that was just something she got in her head. This is the placebo thing. Remember the placebo thing. Good question. I was told she was very bad effect on the body. Now, there's some diets out there that they believe in sugar, natural sugars, but the processed sugar, which I have seen, is actually, it is refined sugar at the end of the day. So it goes directly into the bloodstream. So many factors, the gluten, not gluten, but the glycemic index, and then there's other ones, and fibers. So it depends on how you're eating that sugar and what sugar you're eating, timing, and things like that. But sugar has negative effects both physically and mentally. Absolutely. About how we think about everything will make a difference in how some of this stuff too as well. Remember, remember I said guilt, fear and guilt? If you're guilty and you eating that dessert, you'd be surprised just how the body would come up. So I'm just going to see here. We're going to kind of end it up here. And if there's any other questions, again, just write it in and we'll go through some later. Sugar has many negative effects. Yeah, many things. Should change habit of drinking coffee, but yeah, you really like, well, there's maca espresso. I tried that recently. That was really nice. And it is coming to terms with your connection with food and again, connection with your body. So there's on all levels. Am I wise to use stevia versus refined sugars? Actually, natural health. So the thing about stevia is it can be highly processed too. So again, when any market comes in and you're buying it in bulk, you're buying it in something, they can change it. But there is such a thing as called stevia plant. And the stevia plant, very sweet actually. So you can almost use it in your tea and different things like that. But understand the processing of it. Just ask the questions about the processing of stevia, and it is actually sweeter, but it's really nice to chew on a leaf, I have to tell you. Excellent. So I am going to, Teresa. Yeah, no, awesome. Happy to answer questions, that is for sure. And I thank everybody for coming on. Yeah.
So Luann is saying very thorough. That's nice,
Yeah.
Jennifer saying, thank you for the information. Nighttime is when I eat the most, so I have to work on that habit, find replacement. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotional eating habits, a lot of emotion. People eat emotionally, and again, habits. If you can just look at it as a habit only, Jennifer, that's great. Then it's, you haven't connected or attached to it that way. But no, appreciate the comments.
Yeah,
for sure, and the question.
Yeah, people would say, "Oh, yeah, I have to change some of my habits and the coffee, the smell, the taste, wow, all those stuff, right?" Yeah, so there's many things they can catch up on following you later on, right?
let me have the pleasure of introducing Master Teresa Yeung here. Master Teresa is an international recognized master of Qigong, speaker, healer, and 3-time #1 international best-selling award-winning author. Master Teresa speaks about how to achieve your physical, emotional, and spiritual balance, as she is the founder of Pure Land International Qigong, a certified private institution. Also, she's the leading successor of Grand Master, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, Rosao Wu's lineage, who was the educator and creator of the highly successful Wu's Eye Qigong, which has helped millions of people. In addition, she is continuing education professionally development activity, PDA, provider of the USA National Certification Commission for Acupuncturists and Oriental Medicine. And Teresa, welcome. And yeah, it's my absolute pleasure to be speaking with you and presenting alongside you. So
thank you, Cheryl.
Please.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I am so happy that I am seeing you right now. So let me actually work on the, this is a beautiful journey to understand what we can do for the winter months, right? Yeah. So we understand not to get sick, we should have better immunity. We understand that. But what can we do small ways, you know, so that we will prevent ourselves getting sick? Nobody wants to get sick these days. Nobody wants to visit the doctor. Nobody wants to go to the hospital. But what can we do, right? So one of the things I find very good to know, could be so simple, is you become more aware of yourself. What's your energy like, say, right now? Yeah. Do you like how you feel? Oh, we have a good time listening to Cheryl. Yes, awesome. But what would you feel if you close your eyes and you think about your body parts, right? How's your emotion? How's my shoulder joint? How's my head and my chest, my abdomen? So this is the message the body is telling you. But because we are so busy with making a living, we'll be taking care of the children, checking the social media or the TV news, which I don't do, we usually don't listen to our body. But what we actually know is when we really feel terrible, then we know. But small problems, it's okay, small problems. I don't have a problem with small, right? Agree? If you agree, you can always give me, assume they allow you to raise your hand and all of that, right? And you can also say something on the chat box, but raise a hand is always beautiful now. So you also can question me anytime and put it into the chat box. And then later on when I finish my presentation, and I'll check your messages, right? So I want you to know I'm not very good at speaking. I'm Chinese, right? I speak Cantonese. So when I get excited, it's like I'm scolding you too, right? So don't mind it if you feel I'm scolding you. Okay, so these are my books, right? Life Force, I wrote it, 6-7 years ago. And I also have a book on feelings. It's a breakthrough to use energy, the chi, to balance feelings. They all have stories why I made them, right? So I talk about the things that I don't talk often later. So I want you to know one thing is, you might not know you can do a lot of things for yourself. And it's, oh, wow, Qigong master, wow, of course she can, right? No, everyone can be a master of their own energy and just have to learn how to get started, right? And you can do too. And then the tips right now for the winter season, just before I forget it, is if you find you're going home from outside and you find cold, I feel a bit chilly, right? Or maybe if you work late, you start just feeling cold or something. And the next morning also feel a little bit chill or something. So what we say is you have caught some cold energy, cold chi in your body. Then the next thing we say, don't just leave it as it, right? So when I feel cold, I really feel cold, right? So what I have to do is, okay, heat myself up. So I heat myself up would be like how? Get a heater. Make yourself sweat would be great. That's why sauna works too, right? So there are also portable sauna. I have one too. They are like blankets with heater, right? The whole thing is heat yourself up so that the coldness will leave you. So another thing you could do is, in Chinese, we would say, take the food that tone you and lift your energy to harder, right? Harder means you are having more yang energy. So yin energy will be the moon energy. The sun will be yang energy. So they call woman yin and then the guy yang, right? So who fights, right? The woman don't like to fight unless necessary, but the guys will bring the gun and then they will fight for the country. We need them, right? They help us, right? They protect us, right? Awesome, right? So they are the yang energy and we are the yin energy. So everyone's body has yin and also yang. More yin, more yang. So we say that the people are very angry kind of people. They have too much toxic yang energy, toxic yang. There are many good yang energy, toxic yang, overly exaggerated yang energy, right? And then the woman can also use more yang energy, but we also really can nourish our yin energy because it has a whole system behind it. So the beautiful part of doing Qigong is, don't worry about yin and yang. As you practice, everything get balanced, right? It's nice to have more knowledge, but sometimes we may not have time to remember the knowledge yet. What we know is, I really don't feel good now. What can you do for me? I cannot sleep last night. What can you do for me? Right? My stomach is hurting. Can you take it away? That would be nice. So that's what we know, right? So unfortunately, when we are not well, that's when we listen to the messages of the body. The body has always been telling you what they don't like about what you're doing already, all the time. But we don't want to listen to it. You know you don't want to listen to it. So they usually happen in the arms and legs first. So the first thing we know is the hand hurting, headaches, can't sleep, tight, headaches. So it's almost like a little bit ache and pain. Don't worry, I can handle it. No big deal. But it's a huge pain. Where's the pill, right? Where's the pill? If you take a few more pills, or if you take a few days pills and it doesn't go away, then you start to think about something wrong, right? How come the pills doesn't work this time? Well, I do get calls about releasing headache and migraines, because people have been taking pills the whole week already, right? Who wants to pay me for a session unless it's necessary? Just be honest, right? Who do want to spend money on anything, right? Unless it's necessary, right? So the practice of Qigong, the beautiful part is you can learn how to do it and you don't have to keep spending money on it. So you can learn something with Cheryl, some important information on how to change habits and nutrition and how to put things together. So they are helping you forever. Forever. That's why the good people doing good things, we always, I wouldn't call myself poor, but we're not rich people because we teach from the heart, right? I want to help you to help yourself, then I won't get income all the time, but that's my wish to help you, right? Now that's my wish to help the world. And Cheryl would be someone like me too, so we actually can hang around together. So I want to show you a little bit slideshow and with some reasoning and all of that. And then later on, we will do a Qigong practice. Okay, sounds good? Can you thumbs up? Okay, oh, I recognize some beautiful faces like Eva, Luan, Christina, and then Cheryl is here. And then I saw Alice and Cynthia, oh, Lauren, and and then some nice face and add to it. Let's do a little slideshow. So this is what I believe, right? The same thing is a donation, right? If we donate money to a charity, they will keep asking for donation. But if it's for a place with property, they're lacking food, right? So the wise people will start growing crops there so that the people there can start feed themselves, right? So this is what we want you to think about is how can you feed yourself like you have lots of fish all the time, right? Is that what you want? So these are my children. They were taken this year. Is it this year? Mother's Day. So my eldest daughter, my second daughter, my son, and this is my son-in-law. So we look like really happy family, right? But I want you to know, I did not start my journey like this, but you can see there's no guy here too. Something happened in my life. So the first thing is when I was 20 years old, I all of a sudden got lung disease. I threw up blood at the middle of the night. So ever since then, I'm sick all my life. Allergies, digestive problem, aches and pain, migraine, headache. I even black out. I felt dizzy, menstrual pain, anything you can think of, basically I almost have. So the journey happened after I practiced Qigong, everything changed. And then for the next 25 years, I have never dropped Qigong off my life because it has changed me so that I can hang around with the cat's hair. Cat's hair kills me, 5 minutes. Because I found that I could stay with the cats for a few hours after 1 year. Wow, what's going on? My DNA is changing. I can never stay with them more than 5 minutes. And that's when I seriously look at Qigong. It's not just a hobby thing. Why would I not want to do it? I want to play with animals, right? So Qigong is 1,000 times stronger than that of the human being by biomagnetic field from the heart, right? So the brain, even 1,000,000 times. So this is science already, right? So the whole book talk about energy medicine, acupuncture, compare with Western machine, how do they compare and all of that. So meridians, chakras, yes, they work the same. It's just the way how we move things around, really. So when we do Qigong, we cover both systems. So we do know that people are getting sick more than before because people are not taking care of themselves like what they were doing before. We're eating, like Cheryl would be saying, oh, all the food is processed, right? Chemicals, right? The water, right? The air, right? And emotions, right? Making a living, right? And women working before women don't work, now women working. So 25% of the cancer of women is in the breast. What's the problem? There's a problem there. So men's also getting sick too, right? Everyone's getting sick. So what's the problem? Why people have cancer and cancer and cancer all the time? So if you ever listen to any bad news from a friend, I guess besides now is the COVID or whatever, are you coughing? No, that's good. So, and then the next thing they would say, oh, someone had cancer now. This cancer, that cancer. What's the problem? The problem is we are not listening to the body's messages. So we've waited too long. So isn't that amazing? If everyone practice Qigong, they will have less cancer. Why would they not talk about it, right? Because not enough research backing it up. But I guess what they're telling us to do has enough research, just with a laugh, right? So 600 Canadian will be dying with cancer every day. Anyone talk about it? No, not important, I guess. So Qigong is a breathing art, right? It has movements and it improves the life force of the body. And we will be so vibrant, like we have a horse inside us running, and then we have so much energy, we can do anything we want. We still age, but we can do more with the age. Age thing is just a thing of life, but enjoy the aging process, right? Then you have to see your health, you can manage, right? So these are signs of low energy, low qi, but these are all reversible, I would say improved, because I might not be allowed to say reversible because I have to waiver the liability to say that, but we can say it, we can allow to say it helped, right? And Qigong is not a treatment, so it balances you. We cannot say Qigong is treatment, but it's not allowed, right? So we can only say Qigong gives you the result like a treatment, but the result, there's no treatment. Basically, we're just doing breath work, we relax, you know, we have some movements, we think, we calm down the mind, and that's it, right? And then things improve, just like that. So simple. So isn't that awesome to help this lady to be happy in a few months? It's just balance her vibration of this psoriasis, right? You know, all over her body, and she sent me the pictures before and after. So Qigong is a moving meditation, okay? It's like acupuncture, but no needles. You practice the Qi, like put acupuncture needles all over your body, and you can do as many times you want yourself. Is that awesome? Yeah. So I like to help you to feed yourself a lifetime so you can be the healer for yourself, right? So not everyone have the luxurious, treatment to have an acupuncturist you can trust too, right? Sometimes things don't work, right? So if you can do the energy yourself as much as you want, then you can do other sessions, modalities, or drug or whatever. It doesn't matter, at least you have one thing that you can control yourself, right? So listen to your body, there are always messages. So would you have aches and pain already? Those are messages. So the body cannot stop you to do something you're not supposed to do to the body. So they tell you, I'm hurting. Did you hear me? No. Hurt you more than. Do you hear me? No. So I have to give you more things then. It's not the body want to give you more problems, because when we have inflammation, our body is acidic. Lots of acid. This is, this is science, right? When people go to the gym, they exercise, they create acid, right? Acid. The joints hurt because of acid, right? So if you cannot find out why you is not well, then you have to ask for help. You can ask for help me. I can help you to figure out why you're not good. Or you can ask Cheryl to, she will look at how you're eating and that to tell you maybe that's the problem, right? So how are you making the body so acidic without knowing? There are just a few things you can do, and you can start reversing your aches and pain, right? No. So bacteria, virus, cancer cells, they don't need oxygen to live. They don't need it. This is science, right? So the Nobel Award winner also talked about this, and it's very important. People didn't know the cancer don't need oxygen, right? And then when we practice Qigong, you are breathing oxygen all the time and more than ever too, right? So that's why in any hospitals, rehab center, they will have meditation or Qigong, that kind of thing there, because it actually is not just meditating and relax, because you are actually alkalining your body. Practice Qigong is proven with research, your body will be more alkaline. It's proven already. So there are thousands and thousands of research all over the world about the benefit of Qigong. It can even stop craving. It can even stop people cocaine, then stop drugs. Too many things, diabetes. It's too much research already. But then they always conclude with, it's hard to have the conclusion that Qigong works, because different practitioners may be teaching different kind of Qigong. So how can they measure the result of Qigong? Because different forms give different results, right? So it's always conclude like that, right? And then they say, while it is true, is beneficial, we still need more research. So even Sick Kid Hospital has research on Qigong too, right? So Qi is electromagnetic. So when we do a little Qigong later, you might feel that electrical feeling in your hand. And it's so funny, right? So you can call it biomagnetic, you can call it quantum. Everything is the same, right? So it's like whatever you want to package energy, you can give it a name. So emotional freedom technique is a packaging energy work to say it's for emotions. So by tapping is acupuncture. When you tap, you have affirmation, and it's just a mixture of the Chinese system to create something, right? Acupuncture is Chinese, Tai Chi is Chinese, reflexology is Chinese, herbal medicine is Chinese. The supplements on the shelf of the health food store, they're all Chinese too. A lot of them are Chinese knowledge everywhere. And then there's always natural healing with herbal medicine. But then you can be the herbal medicine yourself if you start making energy yourself, right? So there are many drugs that actually use Chinese medicine to become an actual drug, but they don't tell you what they were doing. For instance, there was a drug on MS. I think it's about $2,000 a month that people have to spend. It's actually made from cordyceps, but they don't tell you the root of the medicine is coming from cordyceps. Okay, now, so this is my teacher. Okay. So we did learn from the most honorable kind of teacher from China that belonged to the Chinese talent bank. So if you read Chinese, they would say this is the highest Qigong Talent Association of China. So it's a lifetime membership. That's what's saying here. It belongs to the Research Science Academy of the Chinese government, you would say. So China is very well, I say it's communist, right? So everything has to be authentic, right? There's no games. This is it, we honor you. So when we are honored by the Chinese government belonging to the Beijing, right? It's not provincial, it's not the city, then they will put a star here. So this is the way to tell if people's certificate, whether it's nationally approved or not, right? So he can choose Qigong master for China to enter the highest bank of talents for the country too. And then he came to Canada to retire, and I happened to meet him the next week. He's in the city, and I started learning right away. So traditionally, we know we can do energy work. So Qigong is very big in doing energy, or energy, right? So if you study Reiki, you also may or may not know that Master Yushi actually went to China a few years to study Buddhism and Taoism, and even learn how to speak Chinese. You may not know Taoism is actually has a lot of Qigong there, because Taoism is used for doing, say they want to have the immortal life, right? So they want to heal longevity, right? So they do a lot of Qigong meditation in Taoism, right? So he was studying Taoism and Buddhism. Awesome. So thank you. So you can do things on each other. So with Master Yushi is when he returned to China, from China to Japan, he had a dream. And that's when he figured out how to do Reiki teaching. But then the lacking part of the Reiki system, they do not actually emphasize on self-help as much as the Qigong system. The Chinese, we're very, very careful people. You can see that we want acupuncture to the point, right? You see, we want everything perfect, right? Who is perfect though, right? That's why you say, don't do healing work 10 years later. Okay. But then Master Yushi, right, you can do healing work right away. Why 10 years later, right? And so he actually helped the energy work to go out faster. And I really thank him for the inspiration that could be possible, because he has inspired me to change the Qigong healing system to be a lot faster. And he is also like a mentor to me, do it faster, really? But I can improve the part that he wasn't doing. Because with him is after he died, you know, all his paper is burnt too, right? So the Reiki was actually taught by the 20 students he taught in his life. So that's why Reiki has different kind of system, because they learn from different teachers, and the original teacher, everything he put together has been burnt. Okay, so this could be something that happened in a workshop. Right away, the person could be walking, but it's not a few hours, like a whole day with me, right? So what would you feel? That's the funny question. Well, if you have more energy, how would you feel? So would you be happier as a person? Will people know you're happier? Will you have more energy at work? Would you be able to get a raise? Maybe you can change career too. Would you think you have more energy to earn more money? If we do need to earn money, right? So will you be able to think better and make a better decision if you go for investment, for instance? So that's what energy means. I mean, it's helping you to have the intuition to make some important decisions in your life. Sounds good. Okay. Right. What would you feel if you have lots of energy? The good way, right? The good energy about feeling your life is hopeful, feeling good about the future. It starts from you feeling good, right? It doesn't matter what's going on in the world, really. They're not your problems, really. Some are not, right? But then you can deal with the things in the world with a calm mind. Then you can think better. You can actually see what's going on with a pair of clear eyes. There's a lot of things going on. It's not right. We know that. So what can we do with the things we don't like? We tell them we don't like. Yes, we can talk in the mind. Yes. There's some people protesting on the street and they were not on social media or even on the news because they don't like people see someone's protesting, right? So we understand this is a control issue, right? But then what can an energy practitioner do? We send intention. We're going to send intention together too. Intention is very powerful. Now, we can send intention what we want to happen in our life. Now, so I will do some healing with you at the end too, right? So this is a class I'm teaching people how to do healing work. In fact, Christina is here, so and Eva actually is here too, and Alice is here too. We just do healing just like that. We just learn like this these days. This is the new style, right? But before in person, we were doing this way and we'd be doing this way. But then now can we extend to Zoom healing, WhatsApp healing, Facebook Messenger healing? Okay, now. So this will be my typical session. This is how we do to heal people just like that. So I want to give you this experience how to do this. But let's cover this a little bit. So 90% of the people come to me are women, right? And I'm a woman. So I am already 64 years old, looking this way, thanks to Qigong, right? So I am in excellent health. I just have body check too. So it's not that I don't have problems. I told you already, I have all the problems in the world, 20 years old. I was quarantined, I was contagious, coughing, throwing up blood and all those things. I was on heavy medicine and all those things. So nothing works really. So only after doing Qigong that I deal with the root of the problem, which is my life force, right? Life force weak. That's the problem. That's why for women, if you want to follow me, if you want to have a very beautiful menopausal transition, you don't want the discomfort feelings, right? You don't want the mood swing, right? You don't want to be sweaty. You don't want the irritation. You want to feel good, right? Then you will have to do something different than other women, right? Makes sense, right? So since you're in the Qigong, then we have a special Qigong for women that I put together for women. Why? Because women need a different Qigong, not the one they're teaching in the market. Because Qigong are not designed by women. Qigong are designed by guys. The women at 13, 15 years old in China, they are at home and then they get married They give birth to children, they serve the in-laws, they cook, they do all the things, they sew clothes for family, take care of the children, they do the cooking. The list goes on, right? So we are, I don't want to say machine, but we feel very honored that we are creating population to have crops for the country, to have more male serving the country. We have a lot of wars in China, so we need guys, so much wars, tons of wars. So we need men. So this is the role women have taken. And now I like to help women to feel better. And then how can we do it? Practice Qigong, right? So there's a Qigong to help the menopausal transition. And there'll be something coming up end of January. And then we're gonna have digital course. I actually will be doing live teachings too, question and answer every week for 6 weeks. I will record the sessions to give it to the people that cannot join the class too. And then we may have a bonus officer. You see my English? Bonus offers. Oh my God, gee. I have bonus offers for the people that register to class that we get them well taken care of. And I might even have 2 different times I'll be teaching the program. So it'll be lots of fun and it will be only for women. No guys, sorry, only women. Okay, so that we can talk. So we're gonna talk about how to help women, okay? So we have lots of fun. So in the old days, this is how we practice Qigong. Old days, Master Wu's time. Oh, okay, now let's stop this tip for a moment. So I can send you tons of testimonials about people practicing Qigong, have awesome, often all the awesome thing, right? So it's not something difficult to do at all. But how does Qigong practice work, right? So I want to give you a feeling, what does it involve, right? Do you like that? Like some? Okay. So I also like to know who does not know what Qigong is about too. So if you don't know what is Qigong, and you never practice, I like to know too, right?
I have a problem with walking and my breathing. I don't know if that would help me at all.
Oh.
I walk too fast, and
Right.
then I have asthma, so I start to breathe heavy. I don't know how to walk at a right pace where I wouldn't breathe so heavy. Yeah.
Let's have you right away right now. Oh, so is there any other needs that people have? It's time to put it out, because I kind of passionate about take people's problem away, right? So let me see what I can do for you, right? Make it lighter, you know. Isn't that nice to be light? YouTube channel, okay. So this is the YouTube channel, right? So we will send you things, okay. Okay. So something very important is we have to trust what we are doing, right? It make a difference if you trust, right? But because you haven't done it, so it's hard for you to think you can have the change, you know. But if you actually understand the process of Qigong more, then you actually can appreciate it even more, right? I actually really enjoy this video, right? This is for the guys to listen. And I just love him. I love this. I love him so much. You know, this guy. Okay, now. So, okay.
I don't know.
Now, just a second. Let me start again. No, I don't want to miss anything you say.
And
Okay.
I never listened to it. I never.
Here. So let's do it again. Okay, awesome.
I don't know. I never knew anything about Qigong, and I never listened to my wife. But for some reason or other, I guess because I had such a serious accident about 9 months ago, I fell off a ladder 14 feet head first onto a cement sidewalk, and I didn't die, but I felt a lot of pain and discomfort over the months. And my wife came home and said, "You've got to try Qigong with Teresa, Master Teresa." So begrudgingly, I came down, and wow, I had a session. And obviously, I'm not totally fixed, but I'm out of a lot of pain, and I have a lot of movement in my neck. And I'm, how could I not carry on? We're going down to Victoria to take in her seminar coming up. So thank you, Teresa. Wonderful. Thank you, my wife, for pushing me to come down here. I'm feeling a lot better already, realizing this is maybe start of a wonderful journey. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now. Okay, now, so we have a lot of videos like this. The people have problems they cannot heal, and I heal them. So another one I really like is because I'm actually feel I'm a dentist, right? Because I fix people TMJ. So the dentist said he will have the pain in the jaw all his life, and he's actually eating only liquid and soup for over 6 months already. But because the fact is we cannot believe this because no one's telling us this is what it is, right? You have other choices. That's why it's very hard for you to believe you have other choices. So what we actually can use more is people talking about they actually got better, right? And that's when I say, okay, maybe if that person got better, wow, it's really huge, right? Maybe I can also get better. Maybe, right? Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. So then not, right? Then not. Then that's the result, right? But if you actually hear people say, how about you, if you hear someone say they cancel the knee surgery, that instead of the TMJ, let's talk about knee surgery. I think that's cute, right? People go for a hip replacement and then they cancel the surgery because I did that, right? Isn't that awesome? Now, let me show that to you. I'm gonna share the screen with you. I'm very happy when people tell me what happened to their life because they didn't tell me they canceled surgery until I met them 1 year, 2 years later. Okay, here. Hi.
I'm Cheryl Rapelier. I'm a licensed massage therapist for 28 years. And a year and a half ago, I was told by the doctors right before I met Master Teresa, that I needed to have full knee replacement on my left knee after a previous injury. She practiced on me. I wasn't even able to go up and down stairs or practice my Qigong. And for the last year and a half, I've been able to go up and down stairs, take dance lessons. I don't need the knee replacement. It's quite remarkable.
Isn't that right? So you can see that it's American, right? So I have a lot of videos like this. I have Olympian people to go back on track. So they could not do it anymore. So they came for help. So I helped them and then they went to Olympic. That's her, right? So young people do Qigong too when there's no other ways, right? Now, so this is, you can relate to the desperate if it's your family, right?
I'd been injured for almost 9 months and was at a point where I didn't know what else to do, how else I could help heal myself. Being a national team athlete, I just wanted to get back onto the track. And so I started working with Master Teresa and was introduced to Qigong from a teammate and came and started working with Master Teresa, who helped heal my femur in my leg that was stress fractured. And after only, I think, a month of working with Master Teresa, I was back onto the track and working towards my goal of making the Olympics. So every time I would finish a session of Qigong, I would feel my body be a little bit stronger than it was before I entered the room or started my session of Qigong. And I believe that truly helped my success. Okay. Also working with Master Teresa, a strong lesson that she taught me was how to connect my mind with my body and allow that energy to become in unison. So I was able to then use that lesson in my training and in my competitions. And I encourage anyone who has not tried Qigong to give it a chance, because as much as it isn't a widely used practice yet, it is a very powerful tool.
So isn't it nice? You know, athletes don't usually lie, right? So we have a lot of videos like this. Nobody tell me energy can work too. No, people tell me don't do energy work, but I didn't listen to any of them. That's why I'm here. Everyone tell me don't do it because you're talking about 25 years ago, right? Even now, if you don't know, what about 25 years ago, right? So what happened to my life is, you know, the reason why I was doing Qigong full time is not, came out, you think I have nothing to do, you know, with our husband and all that, because my marriage ended, right? Because we lost everything in our life. He was the problem. And then I actually left with 3 children to raise. That's the problem, right? So because of that, I all of a sudden, okay, I don't have a house. I don't have a couple $1,000s. I got 3 young kids, they're only 4 or 5, 10 years old, 5, 6, 10 years old. And I don't have a job, right? Because I decided to be full-time mother. I quit all my jobs. So I don't have a degree. I only went to high school. I don't have anything good. I don't speak great English. So I can get a job. I can get a job to pay the rent, but I won't have money for food and buy things. If I have put the money here, then I won't have money here, but I won't have time to take care of my children and master my time. I'm after my time. I want to use the time the way I want. I don't want people to say work 9 to 5. I need you to overtime 2 hours. You've got to do it. We need you today. You have to quit. Oh my God, it wouldn't work for me. I want to be with my children too. So I say, how can I actually do that? I must be the one in charge of my time. That's why I decided to do Qigong full time. First, it's given me the health already. It hasn't given me the money, but money you can figure out how to do it. But I have to practice Qigong, right? So if I just go for a regular job and don't practice Qigong as much and get all the stress from work that some people have here, I will return to day 1 sick again, right? So I should be practicing Qigong, right? I can do part-time, right? But what about if I do it full-time, right? So it's not about me, it's about you. If I did not do Qigong full-time, you will not have this chance right now. Who's gonna spend time doing this kind of thing? Right? So much work really. They're trying to tell you how to practice Qigong and not even charge you money because we're doing it from the heart, right? So because it's free, you come to the room, right? If I charge you $50 to come to the room, would you be here? Unless you know I am the real deal. So this is the reason why people are not getting better, because they don't want to pay the thing, because paying money is important, right? Money is important. So that's why the thing is, that's why people only can have to wait until they're sick before they can practice. And at that time, they can spend the money they never spend on themselves. I have this story came up when I'm telling you this thing. There was a young couple, right? Pretty young, the kids are small. And then the guy came with the wife to see me, and he said, my wife has a brain cancer. And okay, a tumor in the brain. And then I was doing a session on the wife, right? And the wife said something to me. Well, although I had the cancer, right? So my husband is trying to help me, which is good. But later on, he actually told me, he just realized the husband actually loved her. He didn't know the husband loved her until she's sick. So the cancer has something good too, right? Because at least they're in love. So she didn't die with no love, she died with love. She did die afterwards, a couple of years. She just came for maybe 5, 6 sessions. She died in love. And I think that's good too. At least it's in love, right? So we actually want to help people to be in love. I'd like to help you to be in love with yourself, right? Yourself. Because your body is telling you they don't like what you're doing, but then you're listening. That's why you're in the room, right? You're listening. But so you try to figure out what do they want, right? Of course, they want you to relax and don't work and eat well, you know, nice air, nice food, nice people. That's what they want, right? But is it possible, right? Unless you don't have to make a living, then it's okay. But if you have a living and children to raise and in-laws to serve and parents to take care of the woman, right? You can't do it really. How can you drop them off and don't take care of them and just sit and relax? You can't do it really. The good woman won't be doing that. The good guys won't be doing that too. That's why women really have to take care of themselves. How? Is to practice Qigong so you have more energy, but you don't need to spend a lot of time. And you can also reserve money because you're not going to get sick as much, all those question mark future sickness, because you're taking care of them before it's too late, right? It's before it's too late. It's not holistic people don't get sick. It's wrong because holistic people are not holistic spiritual people. I tell you, you ask around. Most people are not doing energy work full time. They are all part-time work. They all do part-time because holistic medicine cannot generate enough money because it's not covered by insurance, right? That's why people, it's very hard to do it full time. So when you hear the person do full time, they must be damn good. Damn good. No doubt about it. I've done it 25 years full time too. And then we actually bought property from it. We are damn good. But the thing is, what about the woman? Because for me, it's now I went through my, my menopause, my in between and after too. I could practice Qigong different, right? Because it doesn't work. The other way doesn't work. I have to change the Qigong, right? So that's why I'm here to show you there's a way of doing that. But then we will do it end of January, and then you make up your mind. You're going to spend 6 weeks with me. Then we might even bring beautiful people like Cheryl coming back. She wants to talk a little bit with you, to help women a little bit on other things, right? It's not I should have helpers, right? So let other help me, right? That's the whole idea, right? Eva could be helping me. This lady, Eva, she's in energy medicine. She can talk about meridian, acupoints, right? But I'm not going to talk about that. You need help, right? So women should be able to ask for help. Now, that's the thing, right? But today, right now, I was talking to you enough, and let's actually, so let me show you how to practice a little bit of the Qigong, because there's a lady here, she was talking about what, having a little bit problem with the lung, right? That's right, right? So lung has a lung Qigong. And then we have a long Qigong for the lung, and we have a more simple Qigong for the lung too. And it is actually on my YouTube channel now. So I'm not going to ask you to look at YouTube anymore. I'm going to show you how to do it in person. It's very simple. Everything with me is simple, right? Pain, no problem. I take it off. That, don't worry. Oh, skin red, itchy. You can do something about it. Everything is possible. But the thing is, how, right? You can do many things about yourself. The first thing we can do is like we can actually open the nose energy by doing this. Now, say this is the nose. We can put the finger by the side of the nose and just press a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, say 5, 6. So there's an acupoint here. Okay. So you can watch the YouTube video on how to do this, right? I made a video for COVID actually. So then you can also do another thing is stroking the nose, very simple, very quickly. Do 100, 200 times, very quickly. Are you better? I am. Are you? That's it. So, oh, okay, Luann, thanks for your thumbs up, right? So this is, because the lung is connecting with the nose, right? This is Chinese medicine. So you don't just work on the lung. In Chinese, we always do more things. We like to work the whole body as one whole piece, right? So lung has to be better, the nose has to be better. And then we also want to open the lung energy, right? So open the lung energy is actually better if we stand up. Okay. Okay. It's very simple. So I could be just very simple, raising hand and lowering the hand. Breathe in, breathe out. So Qigong movement is basically slower. So I'm not very slow now. So this is like an exercise with the breath work, slower. And then we also learn in the class how to generate the life force energy. And it does need some more lessons to learn it, right? So I do have tons of YouTube videos online to teach you how to do Qigong free. Here, so this can be a Qigong movement, but we want to do it slower. Breathe in and breathe out. So at the beginning, when we do a movement, it's like just physically moving. But if we learn how to sense energy, then every movement will be very meaningful, right? So for instance, we could have a movement like that, breathe in and breathe out. This is opening the lung, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So on the video, you also see a movement with your hand by the neck here. So that's an acupoint there as well. So we open the hand and then we can close, open. And then when we close, then we can press on. So don't worry about it. When we do our follow-up email, I will send you the link of the YouTube of this movement so you can practice at home. So this is helping the lung to be stronger. So everyone should be doing this Qigong right now. So the video has been done a little bit faster because if I do it too slow, people might not like it if they're new to Qigong. So that's why I make everything a little bit faster. Only 5 minutes, you've gone through all the steps, right? So we can be doing a simple movement like dropping the hand too. Dropping the hand. Drop. This is good for the heart and lungs. Because the heart and lungs meridians, they are in the arms. So when you have nothing to do, so this is a good exercise. You know, we already understand about a cardiovascular issue. You have to exercise, right? So the Qigong is very gentle. So it never giving you a lot of stress. It's simple and it's effortless, right? And then we spend time to use. It's like we use imagination, how to think, how to do a movement, the postures, the fingers, and different things, so that we can have a more life force energy get generated in even 5 minutes, right? Okay, so this could be a Qigong move, right? And then when we finish, we always bring the hand back to the abdomen. Then we call this collecting energy. Collecting energy is very powerful. So everything with digestion start with, you think about what you're gonna eat, and then you sit down relaxingly, eat your food. And then the best way to relax ourselves could be doing some Qigong before your dinner. Practice some relaxation, and then your meal will be digested better, right? Does it make sense? Okay, so thank you very much. So let me just sit down again. Okay. So LG, someone said they feel bad about someone dying. Well, the way you look at things is like this, right? There's always a reason to be sick, right? So say, although that lady, she died, but she got something she wanted her whole life, but then she actually got it, right? So it was nice. It was still nice. You know, you can have a miserable woman hanging around, right? But then she's not miserable anymore. She's happy when she got. So I'm looking at the questions. Let me see. So someone is saying, I've done some Qigong before, but it was led by a man and didn't feel too comfortable about talking about women. So yeah, that's right. That's why we're gonna have the women's class just with women. We've been teaching for 1 year already, but we don't have the digital program done the way we want. So we're gonna put everything together so we can talk about anything in the class for women. I have a lot of back pain. Yes, practice it. Yes. So even try some of the YouTube videos we have is already helping. We have other things that you can join, like a global healing coming Tuesday, very meditative. It might be good for your pain too. It's if some health problem is not improving because you could be not able to generate the life force, right? Because the life force with what you have create the body what you have now, right? So if you want to improve yourself, then you have to have what? More life force energy, and that's what we need. Yeah. So I'm gonna add Cheryl into to the spotlight. Cheryl, yeah, okay. So I think it's about time as we planned, right? Yeah. So I add a pin to yeah, Cheryl, yeah.
We're here. Thank you. I'm just going to say thank you verbally because I can't. I'm unmuted. But thank you, Teresa. That was what I mean. It is about the energy. I mean, the energy, and we both seem to be in sync with what we're talking about. So it's awesome. Awesome.
So what should we do now, Cheryl?
Well, this this is an opportunity for other people to share and to ask questions. I mean, I think that's a good time too. So there's, there's some time here. It's always great to be not late. we're on time. I just, what I'd like to share with everybody. This was a doctor from France that I studied with. And one of the interesting things is going to tie into energy again. But and again, you don't have enough energy, you don't detoxify or cleanse or, all these regenerating things. And he had said that for women, now that we're here for women, when he was talking about the menopause and the symptoms that people are having, he said the woman's uterus is like a garbage can. And so going through menses was the opportunity to detoxify. It was an outlet, another outlet to detoxify. So when you actually now go, you're changing again, you're not in childbearing years, then the detoxification is now happening like you were before, like men, sweating, right? And out through the pores. And so if there's toxicity built or too much toxicity in the body, that's the hot flashes. Just to simplify and kind of wrap it up, that's the hot flashes. So women know that it's true. It triggers it by caffeine, triggers it by alcohol and certain things, and when they overeat. But that, again, it is one of those things where the blessing is it's showing you that you are, changing, you're moving towards the detoxification, just changing that way. But it also is a symptom of showing you that you have to heat up to sweat because the body's got to get rid of toxins.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. So it's all about whether we feel we deserve to improve ourselves, right? So yes, it helps. It helped many, many people, but am I going to give that time to do this, right? So that's the thing is, so there's the value of how we see ourselves, right? So I deserve to be healthier, or I don't deserve to be healthier. Knowing it helps, right? Am I going to give that time for myself? Yes, or maybe no. So the reason for this is the way I would say help the woman or the man is you have to picture yourself. If you get sick, what's going to happen in your life? You got sick. So what's going on in the surrounding? So are the parents okay? The children, will they have someone to take care of? What happens if you cannot manage your health anymore? So who will be doing all the work that you're doing right now? Can someone replace you? The hardworking woman do everything. That's what I do. I do everything too. So the thing is, because I use energy to maintain my energy to the level I can manage and do all the things I want. I can work very hard, but I can practice Qigong to get my energy back so I can continue to do it. That's how I raise the children. That's why they all look so beautiful, because they all practice Qigong with me. Because I don't have money for babysitter, right? So they all go to Qigong class, right? And you can do that too. So we provide you Qigong class all the time, so you can keep on doing it every day and work on the nutrition with Cheryl, right? That solves the problem. Eating well and do some energy practice, right? That's all.
Yes, it's true. And you know, I'm a long past menopause, but as you were speaking, Cheryl, about detoxifying, and you know, I thought, oh, well, then what do the men do to detoxify? And you mentioned right away about sweating. So I love to hear that, because we didn't speak about sweating in your presentation. And
Yes.
One thing I just wanted to ask you, Cheryl, you know, I was told by a wise person that when we want a certain condition in our life that we're not getting, that it is our ego. And you did talk a little tiny bit about ego and its place. Could you just take a few minutes to talk about ego so that I can see it in a way that I can walk around and see it as something helpful and what I should be doing with my ego, you know?
Yes.
That's a cute one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I like about you bringing it up is recognizing that it is a very important piece in our lives. It has us do things or don't do things, or has us see things a certain way or not see a certain way. You know, you're good enough, you're not good enough, you know enough, you don't know enough. So by your thoughts, you will know what is kind of happening with your ego. And does it make you feel good? Right? Or does it make you feel not so good or different? You know, so you can, you know, this is the whole capturing of your feelings and emotion in action and motion. And so the first step to really understanding ego is to see where you go with everything, your reactions. You know, do you have reactions to things? You know, somebody kind of pulls out in front of you in a car, and do you react to that? When somebody does something that you don't like, how do you react to that? Do things make you angry? Do things make you feel not good enough? Do you beat yourself up? But then do you say, oh, I'm better than people, you know, I'm better than people, I know more than them. So you're telling people what they do. So if you recognize where your thoughts go, that will determine where the ego has because the ego is quite simple, a positive ego. So just so that people know, there's a positive ego. And the positive ego is just the witness to your experiences. That's it. They don't play a front seat role in how you should act and respond in that way. So you can act and respond very positively, but that's just being. You know, that's just being in your life and recognizing the beauty and enjoying this and being in joy. So ego has a very positive role in that way, but it's positive feelings and emotions. But positive feelings, emotions sometimes that make us feel good is checking to see, well, does that mean other people are not as good? You know, there's that competitive nature too as well, right? So sometimes people don't always recognize the nuances of the ego, which is, I remember learning that the angel and the devil. Yes. Sometimes that is actually both the negative ego or altered ego, or some people give them names like George's or something. You know, it's really a positive ego's you. Is kind of your stepping back from your experience and seeing it for what it is, not better than, not less than, yeah, it's just, you're just present to. Does that help?
Yes, you know, I'm not a competitive person, but you know, when you mention it, maybe there is a feeling of that happening, just the way society is. Maybe it is making me have something competing that I didn't realize that I was, or something. You know what I mean? Like I never thought of it, ego, about being competitive. It never entered my mind. It just, what I was thinking is just getting my needs. How do I get my needs met, but not as opposed, you know, competing with anyone else. But you made a good point that just the way society is, maybe it is competitive in some way or something. Okay.
Yeah, you can take note of judgment anytime you judge people for what they wear, for what they do, for what they don't do. I mean, judgments too kind of come in that way.
More so the ego thing with me is maybe I'm judging myself. That's like, it's not other people. I don't have an issue with that. It's more that it judging myself for not reached a certain thing that I think I should be doing. And someone told me, who's very wise, oh, that's your ego doing that. That's just your ego. So that's what I was trying to make sense of it. So maybe there is a competition going on that I never knew that I had, you know, which is interesting. Yeah.
So if I will add is, you know, everyone wants to be right? You want to feel good, we just say you are right. Then ends the argument. You are right. So for me, it's like everyone is right, because what you believe is what it is, right? You can believe yourself that you're right, but you don't have to defend yourself to need them to say you are right? Of course. So what's the purpose, right? So sometimes if we actually would say, if I feel very at peace with myself, with any conversation, whoever I met, I understand they don't get something, I return home and feel peaceful, that means there's no ego. So if you feel anything, you feel bad, the ego is kicking in. That's why I wrote the book on feelings, is unlocking your happiness within, and living the life you choose with Qigong, because I realized the feeling is holding the energy that causes diseases, right? And I just have some realization. That's why I taught Qigong for the heart Qigong for balancing feelings.
But in realizing that that's so misunderstood, the ego and the emotions, feeling, and all the connection with the physical is, it's matters of the mind. It's awakening you. It is 4 hours. And we do exercises so that you can see what the ego is in its simple observing way. So it's called Awakening You because of all the different components it has, how you think about things.
Yes, yeah. So I know we really appreciate the way how Cheryl put things out so that you can actually get it, right? So isn't that awesome? So let's give Cheryl a thumbs up too, right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is there any other questions? Because I promised to do a group healing to end the event. So that might be the time to do it, Cheryl, is that right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I want to help you to feel that you can heal with the distance. So I also want you to know, end of January, my school, Pure Land International Qigong, we have been training healers, right? Remote healers from March already. So there will be 20 of them ready. So we're gonna give a service for the community to charge $20 for a 30-minute session. You cannot even rent a room for $20. Because we're doing remote healing, so it's a service for the communities to try energy work, and then we have a lot of love and want to give that to the people. And there are people already registering already. So when I send you the email, I will send you the link. If you want to book your time now, do it too. Anyway, so thank you for that. So how does healing work? What it means. So if you want me to help you, you might really want to open the screen, because I do not know what I have to help if the screen is closed, right? I can give you energy, but then you block me, right? So it's your choice, right? But what I do is I will lead a little breathing meditation with you. And then you can decide how to follow me, right? Okay, because energy is given everywhere, really. So energy everywhere, but you just don't know how to pick it up, right? So because I am very, I do remote healing all the time. I scan people's body. I look at you, I know where you have problems already. So when I'm going through the room, you can think about where to, you can think about your problems. We're not trying to work on emotions too much or something, but it's not that it will not help, it will. But then you have to think about, oh, if I have this ache here and there, can I take it away? So don't try to be too aggressive, right? So if you have one thing getting better here, is that nice? Oh, I need a lot, but it doesn't work. So you have a chance to come back to the global healing on Tuesday, and then we'll work on it again. So there's no talk, basically just doing healing all that time. Awesome. So I'm going to do something with you. Thank you. Head relax. Neck relax. Shoulder relax. Chest relax. Abdomen relax. Back relax. So when we are in like a breathing, like a meditative way, then you may feel tired, right? But it's okay. So you are resting. That's why it's like you're going to sleep. So when we finish our Qigong practice, our energy will come back later. But while we're practicing, it's like we're sleeping, but we are awake, right? So we train the breath and intention with some movements together. So right now, it will be all about you. So head relax. Give yourself permission to relax. Neck relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Shoulder can relax too. Breathe in, breathe out. Chest can relax. Abdomen can relax. So every time you breathe out, you just think about, yeah, I'm gonna relax now. Maybe I can allow the negative energy to leave me. It's like we breathe them out. I had enough of them. They can leave now. Breathe in, breathe out. So back, relax, breathe in, breathe out. So arms, hands, fingers, relax, breathe in, breathe out. So head to toes, relax. Breathe in, breathe out. So look at your body in your mind. So where can you relax more? Breathe in, breathe out. So it's okay to relax. It's okay for me to take care of myself now. So everything else can wait. It's my time right now. So all my energy goes to my body. My body's love it. So think about talking to your body. If it's not well, it needs love. Qi energy is really love. You love the part of the body that's not well. It's not why it's hurting. Oh, I'm sorry, you're hurting. What can I do? Love the part, right? Oh, let's send chi love to any part of the body. Keep thinking about that while I send you some energy. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out. Put the mind on the part of the body that you want help. And be nice. Send some love. Breathe in. Breathe out. So energy chi is just a light. It's a light of life. So for the plants, for human being, we need lights. So energy is in the lights. We are all energy. We are light too. That's why we like to be under the light. We are part of the light creation. So bring the chi with the light to your body, and then you get lighter. Breathe in. Breathe out. See a light all over you, shines you. It's your love to yourself. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, just relax. Breathe in, relax, and just relax. So when we relax, then the body is going through a superb circulation. And then we are creating a no resistance, right? And then we relax in the breath. And then we talk to the body to give energy to that part of the body with different movements designed for it, right? So we train our intention very deeply. So intention is the law of attraction, right? Send the intention out. So when we do Qigong, we have a lot of training in intention work. So people do manifest a better life because they train the base of the law of attraction. So right now, as we are so relaxed, you can think about, give an intention to this community of yours, your family, your friends, the world. Give them love. How? Just think about them smiling. Everyone's smiling. No one's wearing a mask, everyone's smiling, lots of food around, everyone walking around, smiling, holding hands. That's the world we want, right? Doesn't matter how we get there, but if that's what you hold the vision, so that will be the base of the law of attraction that we are sending out to create the world we want. And we do it with love, and we do it when we are peaceful. And that's all. So simple. And your health improves too. And learn how to eat better. Change some habits. Isn't that awesome? That's what it is. So if you like what I'm doing, I welcome you to come back to the Global Healing. I do it once a month on the second Tuesday. It's by donation. And the money goes to help charitable work, to help the Uganda children to build their, they need a community wall because people are coming in to steal their food, right? So we've been raising funds for them for the whole year already. So it did raise a few $1,000s, but then they need a lot more $1,000 really. So welcome you come in to just few dollars adds up will help them. So we will be sending you beautiful information about how you can contact Cheryl and myself, about different programs we are offering. Lots of free presentations are coming in to help you, to empower you from different presenters other than me. There's someone from UK, there's someone from Los Angeles, just different people. Some of my good friends, they're all very professional people. And then they will come here to help you, right? So see you in other times. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you for all your beautiful messages. And thank you. Susan say it's informative, it's wonderful. And Jane is say beautiful energy. Yeah. So hang around beautiful people is the last thing I want to tell you. When you go out to the world, the people are not very balanced. As you're more balanced now, you go to meet their energy. So if you did not learn how to save your energy and protect your energy better, you go to meet their negative energy, then you start to become like them again. So the practice of the energy, and for the woman, you must join my class because you need to save yourself and don't get other people's energy become yours, right? The toxic energy will give you health problems. You know, how they look at you doesn't matter. How they talk to you doesn't matter. Whatever they do doesn't matter, but then you have to be in this space, right? Calm and peaceful all the time. So then you just say, you're right. You're right. Then there's no conversation, and then see you no more time. That's it. I'm not going to see you anymore. But you're right. You're all right. So I wish you all understand that you are all right too. You know, whatever you choose is right. And then be gentle with yourself. Cheryl, is there anything you want to add before we close the room?
There we go. I just want to thank everybody for coming and then, yeah, give them every understanding of the possibilities that are available to people, and maybe not be so hard on yourself, for sure, not to be so hard on yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Cheryl has a lot of information to share with you, and don't miss the opportunity meeting her. She's really a beautiful teacher. Okay, bye for now, everyone. So look forward to seeing you maybe on Tuesday. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
What I love about the women's Qigong is, first of all, that it's easy to do. It's not physically demanding, and it doesn't take long every day. So you get this gigantic return for a relatively small time investment. And it has multiple benefits. It's designed for women, and it can target your endocrine system, which is really, really important in combating the aging process. Moreover, it helps me to feel better emotionally.